Okay, it says that I'm live. I'm just going to keep talking until I see people in the comments saying that they can hear and see me. If you can see and hear me, let me know. Because a little bit earlier, I had some problems getting it going just because I'm using a desktop computer as opposed to a laptop the last time that I did this. It's a little bit different. Yeah? Yeah? You guys are hearing and seeing me right now? I'm good? All right. That means that we can start the stream today, guys. How do we want to kick this off? Because last night's game, to me, you can't write that. You can't script that, especially with how the game before that went. I mean, I guess we can officially retire the St. Pat's jerseys. I got to take down my Matthews year one off the wall now. But how do we want to start? Hey, Steve, you think Jack Campbell will take over Freddie's job? Um, Not in the full sense of that word. I think that they will have to ease him in. They will have to gradually do it. But I think for the rest of this season, um, probably, kind of, in a sense. No one, I don't expect him to play 55 or 60 games in a season. That's my thing. That's my thing. How are Campbell's fancy stats right now? I mean, we could definitely take a look at them. Let me just throw up, let me see. You guys should be seeing the goalie stats right now. This is from 1920 and this season right now. And if I sort it by goal saved above expectation, Jack Campbell is, with the Leafs anyway, the 10 games that he's played with the Leafs, so this year and last year, he's been awesome. He's been just as good as any of the goalies that we've been suggesting, but that's only in 10 games. So if we just group it to all and look at the numbers, Jack Campbell over the last 2 seasons has been just about as good as Jonathan Bernier, UC Soros. He's not bad, but I want someone else just as good as him, playing in a 1A, 1B, maybe someone a little bit better than him, so that we only have to rely upon him playing about 30 games or so. What's Freddie going to get in the offseason? No idea. I doubt that number starts with a 4. It more than likely starts with a 3. But then again, Braden Holtby got $4.4 million a year for 2 seasons. So Hyman's not worth 8 mil, probably around 4. If you guys ever want to know how much Zach Hyman is worth, I did an entire video on it. Looked over a bunch of different stuff here. Gotta admit, I haven't done this in about a year or so, so keeping up with the chat and following with what's on my screen is going to be a little bit difficult, but I promise I am going to try my best. Yeah, and if you guys want me to answer a specific question, just tag me in the comment section, because then it'll highlight orange and it's easier for me to see. Do you think Jonathan Bernier can handle the pressure of being back in Toronto with playoff round wins or bust this season? Well, Detroit did just announce that he is injured, so I don't know if he's available, when he's going to be back. He definitely is available. I don't know when he's going to be back. But my whole point with the Jonathan Bernier thing is I really don't want the Leafs to acquire Jonathan Bernier. I want them to acquire old Frederik Andersen. I want them to acquire 16-17 Frederik Andersen, if that's possible. Because Freddie, from that one season, I can show you guys here. Frederik Andersen was absolutely amazing. We can scroll down, and you guys can see here, 16-17 Freddie. 16-17 Freddie was absolutely awesome. Like, no doubt about it, one of the best goalies that we've had in over a decade now, but I don't see it being possible for him to get back to that level. It's just, maybe there's too much wear and tear. Too much of that. Would I sign Bernier in the offseason for $3.5 million? Definitely not. Definitely not. That number would have to be a lot lower. They have about that much money to throw at a goalie. I showed that in my Zach Hyman video as well. Channel is awesome, bro. Keep it up. You guys are awesome. That's the only reason why I'm doing this. Is because you guys are here. Is Freddie to the Coyotes going to affect Matthews' decision in the future? No, I don't think so. I think Austin Matthews likes his bonus checks, and he likes them on time. And the Arizona Coyotes, I don't think, can do that. They had some problem with their bonus checks this year. What do you think of a John Gibson blockbuster once Freddie's $5 million is gone? To acquire John Gibson, because I've seen it a bunch in the comments over the last couple of videos, and even in the prelude to this stream in the comments. I don't know. The last 2 seasons have not been very good. Let me pull up something else for you guys here. This is our goalie A, B, C, and D chart that I've added a couple of guys to. John Gibson over the last 2 seasons has just not been good. I don't want to acquire another guy who needs to figure it out, another guy who has possibly nagging injuries. I don't want to acquire another Frederick Anderson, if that makes sense. This stream is the best birthday gift I could get. William, happy birthday. How old are you? Let me know. With the way Galchenyuk is playing, would you rather get a defenseman or goalie now instead of a forward? I mean, if we can have Galchenyuk being an effective top 9 forward in the role that he's playing, I mean, the first game that he played, he was forechecking. And it's like Alex Galchenyuk has never done that in his career. And it's found money. I mean, well, it's not necessarily found money because they did give up a guy like Korshkov in order to get Galchenyuk. But at the same time, if he can play in your top 6, because he's not playing on the 3rd line, he's not playing on that checking line. If he can play on your 4th line, maybe if he can be in a fill-in on your power play, that gives them more depth. I'm really just waiting for them to call up Nick Robertson. I'm really waiting for them to call up Nick Robertson. Really, really, really want them to call up Nick Robertson. I've been saying it for a while now. Before they make any trades, they should call up Nick Robertson and see what he's got, because he might be what they're looking for. Why would Buffalo be willing to let Ullmark go? They'd want an incredibly solid overpayment for him, no? Who would you be willing to give up, Ullmark? I mean, they have that guy, oh my god, Ukko Pekka. I'm sorry. To finish people watching, they have a goalie prospect who is very, very highly touted, and they're going to finish near the bottom of the standings this year anyway. Maybe they look to bring Ullmark back, but Buffalo's had a hard time making free agents stay, so they more than likely have to pay like a Montreal sort of tax or a Buffalo sort of tax to get guys to actually go, or an Edmonton sort of tax. For some reason, it's very hard for those teams to lure free agents or get guys to stay, and especially in Buffalo right now, who knows if he wants to. I don't know. It's just they just might not be able to re-sign him. I'm sure that they would love to keep him. Hey man, love the effort that goes into your vids. Question, what players do you want the Leafs to avoid dealing for? Unpopular opinion, but it is 100% Taylor Hall. Or a guy like Ryan Getzlaf. I think that the Maple Leafs, they don't need that. Well, you know what? Ryan Getzlaf, it's just the money that he makes is really hard. I would be really interested this offseason, because Ryan Getzlaf is going to be a UFA, if the Leafs went after him in free agency. He can be our next Jason Spezza, our next Joe Thornton kind of thing, if he's willing to sign a cheaper deal here in Toronto. That could be an awesome 3rd line center acquisition. But Taylor Hall, just simply because bad luck just seems to follow that guy around, and he makes a lot of money. I don't want the Leafs to put all of their trade deadline eggs into one basket with Easter coming up. So I don't think that Taylor Hall is the guy. He has a lot of potential. He's got a lot of ceiling. He's got a lot of talent. I don't see it on this team. That's not what they need. What does your gut feeling tell you about the goalie situation will be next season? If you guys watched my Zach Hyman video, I kind of did an armchair GM sort of thing, looking at a realistic number for Zach Hyman and then kind of filling in the gaps and seeing how much money we could have left over for it. I guess I can pull something up like that. I'm just not sure what you guys are seeing on the screen right now. I can just adjust that. They have money. Even if they were to give Zach Hyman $5 million, they have about $3 million to go out there and get another goalie left with the rest of this roster filled in. I mean, if you guys want me to fill this in and go through it and include the information that I had in my Zach Hyman video, I could definitely do that. Do I think that Boyd will be claimed? I mean, Jimmy Vesey was claimed. If a team has an injury and they really need him, especially another Canadian team because it'll be quick, do I think Sandin is safe? I hope so. I hope so. If we were to add a decent goalie, would this mean to bump up the defensive end? And if so, who would it be? I mean, so the Maple Leafs either have two choices. I can show. Oh, just 1 second. Just let me bring up me on the full screen here so that I can bring up their cap friendly page. Just 1 second. It's just they don't have a lot of deadline. Oh, look at that. The deadline. If you guys have been watching my videos, I showed the deadline cap space in most of my videos, and that was no more than 130 grand. So placing Travis Boyd on waivers, that kicks that number way up there. That's a very healthy amount of money, believe it or not. If you're looking at possibly getting salary retained on guys, even the prorated numbers, because you got to remember the salary cap that you need to acquire the player that you want to acquire. Their salary cap is prorated by how many days you are into the season. So if you're 50% into the season, their cap hit is already prorated at a 50%. So if you're getting 50% retained, you only really need 25% of their cap hit to acquire that player. 817 grand is a very, very healthy number. Very, very healthy number. Look for the teams on cap friendly and look for players the Leafs could potentially trade for. We will. Just looking for different questions right now before we start doing that, because if I gotta look for a bunch of information and stuff like that, it's gonna be distracting, and then I'm not gonna be able to talk while I'm doing that. That probably bumped up when VC was claimed. Yeah, exactly. You had to trade for one of these three. If you had to trade one of these three for a top six forward, who would it be? Sandin, Amirov, and Robertson. Well, I mean, right off the bat, Nick Robertson is the most proven out of that group, even though Sandin's played the most number of games. I think that Robertson has the best track record. Rasmus Sandin has been an absolute all-star in the American Hockey League, especially for his age. Like, when I had an Elite Prospects subscription, you can go back and look at defensemen's aged 20 and under in the American Hockey League, and he was in, like, the top 10 for, like, points per game in, like, the last decade for individual years. Amirov is obviously the less proven there, but that's just because we haven't gotten an opportunity to watch him. I mean, I really wouldn't want to give up any of those three guys. I would rather give up our first-round pick from this year than any of those guys. Chris Johnson thinks the Leafs could be the front runner for Ekholm. I saw that, and then Elliot Friedman or the other insiders are saying that they're the least favorite. It's just it's a year where there's information everywhere, but that this 817K in cap space, deadline cap space, is very, very exciting to see, especially when they just placed Travis Boyd on waivers, so that is updated. The 817K could mean that the Maple Leafs are going to make a huge push for a trade between now and their next game, because they don't play their next game until Thursday, so they got some time here. Do you think the Leafs would murder the division if they had a goalie like Connor Hellebuck? 100%. If they had Anderson from 16-17, the Frederik Anderson that led them to the playoffs that year, that got them to the playoffs, that got them to Game 6 against the Caps, if they had that version of Frederik Anderson, they would hands down be the Stanley Cup favorites. Hands down. They would be blowing through this division. No one would question them. CJ wouldn't be calling them juggernauts. We wouldn't be stressing. We wouldn't be pulling our hair out at all. Isn't that extra 700 grand on cap friendly from Hutchison not counting towards the cap now? I still see Boyd on the list there. That it could be Hutchison as well. Because if you're... Let's see what you guys are seeing, just so that everything is lined up here. I have a cap friendly pulled up for this year. Oh, Anderson's on LTIR in this one. But if Anderson's on IR, or if he's not, I guess they haven't officially made that move yet. If we just put Hutchison on the taxi squad, that would leave them with about $1 million in cap space. So that could be it. That could be it. But if you're placing Anderson on IR or LTIR, you need Hutch. You need Hutch or someone else. I mean, the Leafs don't play till Thursday, so you're gonna see some goofy things with their salary cap. You're gonna see some goofy things with their salary cap. What potential is Timothy Liljegren on Chell, and is he the future of our decor? Haven't gotten to play a lot of NHL 21 this year yet, just because I saw how much better it was on PS5, so I was kind of dejected with it. And then I got a PS5, and then school and videos and everything like that. So busy. Haven't even gotten a chance to play my PS5. Haven't even gotten a chance to play it. Just been so busy with different things. With the Ducks as sellers, Manson or Savard as the new D-man, I would definitely much rather David Savard over Josh Manson, just because I think Josh Manson has another year left. Forgive me if you guys are, if the view is really wonky right now. I just wanna confirm that Josh Manson only has, or that Josh Manson has another year after this. Is he injured? Yeah, he's injured. He's also got another year left after this. So I don't necessarily know how comfortable I am with adding salary for next season, because he's had a rough go of it the last couple of years. I don't know. Everybody loves him, but I think the time is past for that trade. If they were gonna make it, they would have made it a couple of years ago. Let's just see. Let's just make sure you guys are seeing the right stuff. Do you think a Montour or Colin Miller trade from Buffalo would be a good fit on our back end? Cheaper player, but reliable to grab other than Ekholm. Brandon Montour would be a little bit of a meme, because I think that was either Nick Kiprios or Damian Cox, who has me blocked on Twitter because I called him bald once. not not the nicest thing from me. Definitely shouldn't have said that. But anyway, that would be a little bit of a meme, because people were saying that they wanted them to trade Nylander for Brandon Montour. So it would be hilarious to see what they would actually have to trade to get Brandon Montour, because it is not William Nylander. Nowhere close. Do you think Joseph Woll will be like a Jimmy DeCord? I think you're talking about the Ottawa goalie that beat us for his first career win. And Joseph Woll is interesting. He didn't have the greatest of years in the American Hockey League last year, but after coming back, after having a full year of pro under his belt, he is the most promising Toronto Maple Leaf goalie in the pipeline right now. And it's so sad. It's so sad. If you're looking at the Maple Leafs pipeline for goalies, and you're like, well, why can't we acquire a homegrown guy? Like, why can't we grow goalies? Like the last decade almost, we haven't had a homegrown guy. If you're looking at the goalie situation, um, Ian Scott and Joseph Woll. Ian Scott, not this year, not last year, but the year before that, won Canadian Hockey League Goalie of the Year with his WHL team. Probably one of the most. He was a Team Canada snub that one season, and everyone talked about it. Or I believe he was like the backup goalie or something like that. He was our guy. He was our prospect, but last year sidelined with an injury for the entire season. This year sidelined with an injury for the entire season, and he's 22 years old already. I don't know what they do with that guy as an asset, just because it's such a shame. I mean, things just don't work out sometimes, but Joseph Woll looks like he could be a decent guy. Decent guy. I mean, he was with them in the bubble last year. He's practiced with the big team before, so they are keeping an eye on these guys. Is Matthews going to leave the Leafs for the future? No. Nope. No shot. Not happening. We're not talking about that today anyway. What do you think it takes to get Kemper and Garland? I think it starts with 2 first-round picks. Kemper and Garland in the same trade from the Coyotes. I mean, I guess you kind of have to understand like why you would even want those guys in the first place here, but let's look up Darcy Kemper, because a lot of people have talked about him the last bunch of years here. He's been one of the better goalies in the league the last 3 seasons. He's been an above average goalie for the last 3 seasons, and it's tempting. He's always injured. He's always injured. Every single year, always injured. 55 games in the 18-19 season, 29 games last year, 18 games this year. He's injured right now. I don't know. He's signed for next season for I think like $4.5 million. So a lot of the people saying that Arizona would want that much for him, I don't think they know how much Arizona values money. just money in general. If you could take $4.5 million off the books from them, I think that would be worth quite a bit in a trade. But Connor Garland, yeah, I would be all over him. He'd be a he'd be a shoo-in our top six, basically. I asked John from Hot Take Hockey and Andrew Pillock about a trade with the main pieces being Eichel, Tkachuk, and Marner. Leafs end up with Tkachuk in the deal. Mitch has played really good this year. Mitch has played really, 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 really good this year. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe talking about Mitch Marner is going a little bit off topic here, but I feel like after I gave the guy a bit of a hard time over the last year or so, after a lot of people have given the guy a hard time over the last year or so, ever since he signed that contract, basically, I think that people need to give him credit for what he's doing right now, because the main criticism of him was just that he didn't score goals, really. If he scored more goals, he would be kind of worth that contract. And he's never scored 30 goals before, but in a full season, he'd be on pace for 30 goals. So it's just like I'm quite happy with Mitch Marner. I'm quite happy with him this season. No complaints. Full marks for him. How good is Mac Hollowell really? Okay. So if you follow the channel for a while now, you will know my friend Anthony Venna. Anthony Venna is a data tracker for the Mississauga Steelheads. He watches a lot of minor hockey, watches a lot of the Ontario Hockey League where Mac Hollowell came from. Mac Hollowell being a Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound, so obviously he's one of Kyle Dubas's boys. Kyle Dubas takes care of his boys, like I pointed out in the Zach Hyman video. Mac Hollowell is really he's like a lesser version of Rasmus Sandin. He's when he's pressured along the boards, he's not trapped. He identifies the one play that will get him out of that situation, and he does it. Mac Hollowell is the exact same way. Just when you got three guys forechecking on him and you think you've got him trapped, he pulls out the one possible play to get him out of that situation, and he does it. He's great. He's a great skater. He's great in transition. He's a little bit older. He's coming from the ECAHL. I would view him as another Justin Holl type. He's going to come out of nowhere, and he's going to be in this lineup and contributing. Just 1 second he's not going to be, and the next second he will. He will play games for the Toronto Maple Leafs eventually. 100%. 100%. If I'm a little bit behind with the questions, I'm sorry. Haven't really live streamed. This is different. It's very, very fast paced. Opposed to the videos where I can stop and take a 30-second break or something like that. A lot of people say the North Division is the weakest. I think it's the West because they only have two good teams. What do you think is the weakest division? More than likely is the Canadian division, but like I pointed out a bunch of times, every division has good teams. Every division has bad teams. I wouldn't place too much of an emphasis on it. For the Toronto Maple Leafs specifically, I think that they've proven that they can play defense, not on a consistent basis, but they can play defense against the good offensive teams like the Winnipeg Jets, like the Edmonton Oilers. And that was the biggest question mark for a lot of people coming into this season is how much better is this Leaf team defensively? And they've shown in flashes that they can do it this year. They're always going to score goals, right? They're always going to score goals. 227 people watching right now? That is absolutely insane. You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts. I honestly haven't looked at that number all stream long. That is crazy. Oh, 223. It's dropping now. People are leaving because I've noticed. But 55 likes on the stream right now, guys. Let's pump up that number. Let's get as many people in here as we possibly can. Even if they're not subbed to the channel already, let's get as many people in here as we possibly can. You guys are awesome, though. This is absolutely amazing for a Sunday afternoon. Austin Matthews has a tattoo on his arm of 34 in blue and white, so he stays with us with his whole career and off to Tampa. I thought he had the lion. Him and Mitch have matching things going on, so I would imagine Wherever Mitch goes, he goes. What do I think of Kyle Palmieri? Has very, very bad on the surface analytics. Very bad. Like, awful. Oh, my God. When I first looked at them, I was like, why would we even consider this guy? And then I dove a little bit deeper. I looked into the context. And the New Jersey Devils, all their players are really, really, really weird because they're outgunned and outmatched pretty much every game because they just don't have the top end talent on their roster. So it's really hard to judge guys because everyone's playing out of positions. Like the way that Kyle Palmieri would slot in on the Devils is a lot different than the way he would slot in on the Maple Leafs. I think on the Leafs he could be an effective player in a lesser role than he's currently playing in New Jersey right now. Um, he'd be an interesting look. What if Campbell is ready to become an NHL starter and there's all of our problems solved? I mean, yeah, I would. Yes. Yes, 100%. 81 likes. Oh my God, you guys are nuts. Jumped up like 30 likes. I'm sorry if that was loud. I have no idea how the audio sounds right now. Um, sorry if that was loud. I have a cap question. I know about proration, but does that work with the traded players as well? Toronto clear 3 point. Yes, yes. So Kerfoot's. It's the actual numbers. Like if you're doing, like if you were like writing it all out in like a spreadsheet or something like that, you would look at the prorated numbers. But in for our purposes, just to make it easier to follow, it's $3.5 million out, $5 million in, $1.25 million difference. Like if we're looking at, like if they were to place Anderson on LTIR, just check to see you guys are seeing what you need to be seeing. Like if they were to place Anderson on LTIR and then bring up Hutchison, it says that they have $5.3 million in cap space in the corner there. It's not 5.3. It's a percentage of that, if that makes sense. It's a percentage of that. So yeah, even if they were to move out Kerfoot, so again, 8.8, it's not $8.8 million. It's a percentage of that, but everyone's percentage is the same. So it would be similar to having $8.8 million. Yes, they did put Travis Boyd on waivers. Yes, they did. Um, and I speculated, I'm just saying they don't play until next Thursday for new people joining the stream right now. Placing Travis Boyd on waivers is a way to save cap space, basically. So it's a way to save cap space. The Maple Leafs are literally, their job between now and whenever they do make a trade, whether that's the trade deadline or not, is to save every possible dollar that they can. Every dollar. Like they got to be checking their pockets, like their coat, like if they're doing spring cleaning and they haven't worn a jacket in a while, check the pockets, you might find a $5 bill in there. That's what they got to be doing right now. So I think I'm caught up on the questions for now. If you guys do have a question, by the way, make sure to tag me. So hit at and then Downtown Sports, just so that it highlights in orange and it's easier for me to pick out. Oh, okay, no, I'm not done with questions here. What is the most underrated trade Dubas has made? In my opinion, it's the Campbell trade. Um, I mean, hmm, hmm. Just looking around the roster, it might be the trades that he hasn't made, to be honest. Not dealing one of the big four or the core four guys. The Campbell deal was expensive. I mean, I don't think that people realize how much we actually gave up. I think we gave up Trevor Moore, a second and a third round pick, or something like that. So it wasn't a little bit for a couple months of Kyle Clifford and Jack Campbell now signed. It wasn't the greatest trade when he first made it, but it is looking better and better as the weeks and the days go on. You rock, I rock. No, you guys rock, honestly. Every time you guys give me a compliment, I'm just going to give it right back to you guys because I wouldn't be doing this without you. I am definitely not done or caught up with these questions. My God, you guys are crazy. I agree. Felina would be a great addition. It's just the Leafs are going to score the lights out. No one ever doubts that. If you're going to bring in an addition, Pierre LeBrun said that it was going to be someone who is hard on the puck. And in my video, I was basically talking about, well, what does that mean? That's not very specific. Is that good when he has the puck on his stick? Like, it's really hard to take off of him? Does that mean that this player is really good away from the puck? Does that mean that this player is really good defending off the rush? Like, he's just an absolute animal? Is he really good along the boards? Is he going to throw hits? It's up for interpretation. But Nick Foligno, I think, is definitely a good one. Definitely a good one. What's your ideal trade look like? I mean, I made a video talking about the trades that I want to see happen for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that was a little bit more of an opinionated video. I said that if they can come away with a guy, a top six forward like Mikael Granlund, and a defenseman like a guy like David Savard, like a lot of people, they might not like David Savard on the absolute surface. I got so many windows open right now. They might not like him on the surface, but the thing that I like about him the most, as I'm stalling to pull up the stats here, is that he plays tough competition. Like he plays strong competition. He is a top four defenseman in Columbus, and there is no doubt about that. He plays against top four, top two competition all the time in Columbus. So, and he performs well defensively. Why is this website? Sometimes with the stat websites, like, you guys don't get to see a lot of the behind the scenes and stuff with what I'm doing. But some of these stat websites, I mean, most of them are free, and this one is free. But my God, they are slow. They are very, very slow. Defense, just get it. Facing more elite competition than 52% of NHLers. And if I go on Hockey Viz, this one's usually a little bit quicker. Hockey Viz, like, not good. Not good offensively at all. He's going to hurt them offensively, but I will trade a little bit of offense in favor of some defense, especially when we know that this defense, like, look at the blue near the net there. That is beautiful. That is beautiful to see. And this is the context stuff that I'm looking at when I make all of these videos. I don't just look at the raw numbers. Like, these are raw numbers, but at the same time, this is context right here. This is a guy that limits scoring chances and shots here, and that's the net. So, I mean, I think that he would be a great addition. Is Frederik Andersen going to bounce back and win us a cup, or should we trade him? I think we're at the point where they don't have very many options with him. Allowing him to continue to play games is just not it. It's not it. Like, he can't just continue playing games with no change. I'm not as down on him as most, and that might be a little bit surprising to hear because I have crapped on the guy a lot the last week or so, and I don't mean to. I love him. I do. I want him to do well. It's just there's not a lot of games left. There's not a lot of time, and risking it, not going out there and getting somewhere else, or allowing him to continue having the net, I don't think that that's it. You can't. The options are either to trade him or place him on long-term injured reserve, allow him to heal, and he can come back during the playoffs. And a lot of people didn't like that idea because they would say, well, he's going to come back, and if he does play games in the playoffs, he's going to be cold. Someone in the comment section, I forget your name, pointed out that Matt Murray came back from injury and then just got slotted into the playoffs, and then the Penguins won a cup with him in the net. So it's like, I would rather have a healthy Frederik Andersen who is coming in cold if we absolutely needed him to, versus just a hurt, tired Frederik Andersen. It's weighing the pros and cons in this situation right now, and allowing him to play games it's just not it. It's just not it. Should we get Alex Stalock from Edmonton? Would be a decent backup while Freddie is gone. I mean, I basically used Stalock as a meme in my last video, so not a huge fan. I would rather, if he's free, he's free. But I'd rather just roll with Jack and Hutchison, I guess, for now. What do you think about Alex Iafallo? Love him. Love him. He's perfect. Absolutely amazing. Would hands down take him on this team. He's a good old Italian kid, and that's something that we like to see on the Maple Leafs. Not having the strongest offensive years, but a guy who can play defense, a guy who has scored goals in the past, a guy on the LA Kings that is really one of their few bright spots. Really like Alex Iafallo. I don't think that the Kings would give him up. I don't think that, because they're going for it, right? The Kings are kind of in a situation where the Leafs were in 16-17. Do you give up on guys, or do you trade guys away at the deadline that are UFAs? Like we had, I believe in the 17-18 season, we had JVR, who was a UFA, Tyler Bozak, who was a UFA, Leo Komarov was a UFA, and the Leafs held on to all of them. So the Kings might do the same there. Does Toronto clear $3.5 million in cap space if they clear, or is that prorated? Yes, it is prorated. It's prorated to about 80%. So take that $3.5 million number, multiply it by 0.80, and that's how much money they would free up. But everyone's cap hit is prorated by about 80% or so. If you want to figure that out, you take the date that the season started, so January 13th, the date that the trade deadline happens. So there's January 13th to May 8th. I believe, I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, is 116 days. And then the trade deadline is like 90 days in. So you divide 90 by 116, and that's the percentage that everyone's cap hit is prorated by. Off-topic question, how are you liking the Jays so far? You know what? Haven't gotten a chance to watch a lot of their spring training, but if you are asking that question, and it's because I am a hardcore Blue Jays fan, I went to about 20 games in 2015 and another dozen or so in 2016, and they won a lot of those games. I believe they won like 12 straight games that I was at. I had a bunch of the bobbleheads and everything like that. Love the Blue Jays. Can only hope for good things. I saw a stat the other day that pointed out that they have the best starting pitcher ERA in spring training so far by a large margin. I know someone asked me if I would do Blue Jays videos here on this channel. I don't know how well you guys would like that or something like that, because I can look at the YouTube stats. They are very, very detailed. I can see what percentage of you guys are from Canada, what percentage age group that a lot of you guys fall into. I can see some creepy stuff. I cannot see where you live, though. That is not included in the YouTube stats. But at the same time, most of my audience, I would imagine, are Canadian, from Ontario, from the GTA. So a lot of you would probably have watched Blue Jays games. I'm not sure. Dangle related our goalie situation for the 17-18 Caps when they won the cup after Holtby struggled and Grubauer took the net. Think it's similar? Yeah, so if I'm just remembering off the top of my head, I believe they started game 1 and 2 against the Blue Jackets that year. They lost both those games. I believe game 2 was like a really, really bad goal that they lost in overtime. And then they went to Grubauer and they won that series, and then they went back to Holtby and then they won the cup. And it's just like that would warm my heart. Absolutely warm my heart, because I don't think Freddie Anderson's coming back next year unless it's on a 1 year deal. 1 year deal. 1 year deal. That's it. That is the maximum length that I am willing to offer that guy for $4.5 million, or maybe even less, maybe $3.5 million. That is the absolute most that I am willing to go with him. It would warm my heart that the Frederik Andersen tenure would end that way. But let's see. Oh, the chat skipped around. I might miss a couple of these questions here. Yes. Grubauer did steal the net. Freddie needs time to get healthy and to get out of his own head. He will be great again. I hope so. Start Campbell on Thursday. Gives Freddie some time to heal and to work with the goalie coach and get his games back. It's like, yeah, like I've said a couple of times in this stream so far or in other videos, really their only options are to either trade him or sit him on LTIR and let him work on some stuff, let him get healthy, physically, or whatever's going on with him. Just give him some time away. Did the Leafs make a move, a forward or a D-man? See, look, I was talking about this with one of my really good friends. Kyle Dubas has been saying forward, 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 and I don't know. No, that's not what this team needs. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to get a forward, but I wouldn't place the primary focus on getting a forward. I would really like another defenseman. Um, that gives you an option depending on the team that you're matching up against, because then maybe you can go 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. I mean, what do you rather? What do you want to prioritize in a series? There's been Alex Iafallo stats on the screen for a very very long time now. Sorry about that. Um, but if you're looking at this Leafs team, what would you prioritize here? Especially if you call up Nick Robertson and he plays well. What are you prioritizing here? Are you prioritizing the offense, the defense, or the goaltending? And to me, we know that this Leafs team is going to score. But we know that this Leafs team has trouble defending. They have trouble holding on to leads. Everyone wants to harp on Morgan Rielly because of his defensive flaws. Maybe the coach should stop playing him in big defensive minutes if he can't do it, right? If they're up by a goal or two in the third period with 10 minutes left, wouldn't it be nice to have someone else to go to with TJ Brody so you can have two shutdown pairs, someone and TJ Brody, and then Jake Muzzin and Justin Hull, and kind of give Morgan Rielly a little bit of a break? And I mean, maybe that speaks to what his next contract is going to be. I talked about that in the video that I did about Morgan Rielly, but wouldn't it be so nice that the Maple Leafs could have two shutdown pairs instead of just one? Wouldn't that be so nice? I don't know. To me, I think the goaltending has to be priority number one. The forward core, I would call up Nick Robertson before acquiring another forward, because like I said, he might be the guy that you're looking for. And then I'd want another defenseman. Do you think Sheldon keeps his Switch Nylander and Marner? I mean, that's like an in-game decision. Like if one guy is not feeling it and the other guy hasn't been. Yeah, I would definitely make that move like in game, but not permanently though. I like Marner with Matthews and Nylander with Tavares. Um, how has Sheldon Keefe been since he became the Leafs coach? I don't think that we've seen Sheldon Keefe in his element yet. I don't think that we've seen this guy in the light that I think most people would appreciate him in. If you watched Toronto Marlies games, or if you've been to a lot of Toronto Marlies games, there are times, a lot of times, more often than not, where you would hear him yelling over the PA announcers in Coca-Cola Coliseum just because he is loud. He is crazy. He's a lunatic behind that bench. And I think he's kind of reined it in a little bit. And, maybe Dubas sat him down and be like, hey, man, there's more cameras in the rink now. There's more eyes watching this game. You might not want to freak out as much as you did with the Marlies. But he's a guy that battles for his players. He is always there for his players. He's a players first coach because he used to be a coach, and he will let it fly if he's hot. I don't think that we've seen enough of that just yet from him, but he definitely has the capability of doing that. And if you've ever been to a Marlies game before, you will know how deafening their speakers and their PA announcers are, and he's able to yell over them and for you to hear him. What is the point for Dubas to go? It will be very, very. Oh my God. Okay. I don't want to talk about the situation yet. I spurted out a tweet the other night when the Leafs lost the first games to the Calgary Flames. I was like, look, man, if you don't do anything to fix this situation, you being Kyle Dubas, and we waste another year of this core, it's gonna be really, really hard for me to defend you against just the endless wave of people that are gonna be hating on him. It's gonna be very hard for me not to join that group, or at least just be objective about the situation. He's made a lot of amazing additions. TJ Brody, Jake Muzzin. Like, this team it's got his fingerprints all over it. All over it. Dangle said it at the beginning of this year. If this team sucks, it's his fault. So if the team sucks this year, it's his fault. It's 100% his fault. There's no more Babcock. There's no more Cody Ceci. There's no more Nikita Zaitsev. There's no more Patrick Marleau contract. It's his. So if it sucks, it's on him. Would you trade Kerfy Robertson a first and a second? Oh boy. No, probably not. Probably not. Maybe that's my. Would I trade Kerfoot Robertson a first and a second for Granlund and Ekholm? I would rather it be Liljegren instead of Robertson. If that's Kerfoot, Liljegren, a first and a second for Granlund and Ekholm, I think I would be a little bit okay with that. Or if it was a Mirov, a first and a second for Granlund and Ekholm, I think I would be okay with that. Just not Robertson. Just not Robertson. Are you and Steve Dangle homies? No, I've met him once or twice before and had a conversation with him. But other than that, no. The Leafs make a move forward or a D man. I think I already got to that one. Do you put Anderson against the Sens and Campbell's against the? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. One of the problems that Mike Babcock had in his last year as Maple Leafs head coach. So just to read over the question again, do you put Anderson against the Ottawa Senators and Campbell against the Oilers, or put Campbell for both games? I mean, we got to remember that Campbell's coming back from injury, so ideally, yeah, play him against both. But at the same time, I think Mike Babcock's flaw when we had Anderson and Hutchison and Freddie was playing all the games is that he was playing Michael Hutchison on the second half of back-to-backs against the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. It's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You're setting this guy up to fail. You're setting this guy up to fail from the very definition of the word. So it's like, if Freddie Anderson is going to play any more games for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would want it to be against the Ottawa Senators and not those other teams. But then again, Ottawa's been ridiculous this season against the Leafs, so I don't know if that helps. I really don't know if that helps. Um, yeah, he gets a bench minor for his antics. I mean, yeah, there has been a lot of So Keefe is Tortorella light? No. He's much nicer because he's ours. Because he's ours. Uh, there's going to be a guy doing all the yelling and screaming. You want him on your side instead of the other team's, because if he's on the other team's side, you just think he's annoying. And I want him to be annoying for other people and not us. The Leafs make it all the way to the first series against an American team and lose badly. Do we need to seriously consider a change to our core? No. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because I'm not just gonna give those guys away. I'm not just gonna. On the recent Steve Dangle podcast, they were talking about the goalie situation. I'm pretty sure Wild ripped from your vid. No, he didn't. Adam didn't rip from my vid. I mean, what I did is I went to the standings and I looked at the teams at the bottoms and I was like, do they have a goalie that they can give up? And then for the majority, it was no, and then picked out 3 names. It's how I came upon those 3 names. It's not a secret or anything like that. Would I do this? Forsberg 50% and Ekholm 50%. Kerfoot, Dermott, a 2021 first round pick. Arvonen. I don't think that Nashville would do that. Okay, so I think we can start getting into specific trades now. We've answered a lot of questions. My God, I'm just going to take a break for a second. Been streaming for about an hour or so. Do you think there's a chance they protect Dermott over Muzzin? No, it's 100% going to be Muzzin. I know some people suggested leaving him exposed because of his contract and his age. He's way too valuable to this team. Maybe if Sandin or Liljegren, but even then, no, because I don't want to just give him away for nothing. Travis Boyd is on waivers. Yes, he is. And that's going to give the Maple Leafs more cap space to work with. Why are we hearing about left-handed defenseman Ekholm? If Brody goes down, the Leafs are screwed on the right side. I think people get way too caught up about left side, right side. Can the guy do it? Yes. Can he do it? No. Don't play him there. If they have a track record of playing the opposite side when they're on that hand, I mean, I don't really mind it. Situationally, I mean, maybe if the other team had someone on their right side, I don't know. No, I'm not really too worried about it. I want the best players possible on this team. Get the best players possible and then worry about it afterwards. 283 people watching right now. Guys, if you haven't liked the stream already, let's get as much people in here as we possibly can watching this. This is insane. I've only live streamed once before, so if it's not the greatest pacing or things are not going the greatest or whatever like that, I apologize for that. I will get better at it. It is something that I want to do because it's a lot closer of an interaction right now. And I do appreciate you guys a lot, and I do want to set aside some time every once in a while to answer your questions. I really do like this. This is awesome. Um, let's see. But I do want to transition, and I do want to talk specifics here. So, Mattias Ekholm. Because a lot of people seem to be really excited about Mattias Ekholm. Why are people excited about Mattias Ekholm? Why are people excited about him? He is awesome offensively. He is awesome offensively while not giving up a whole ton defensively. And I mean, if we're looking at his career over the years, wow, the chat's going really fast. But if we look at his defense over the years now, when the Preds started to get really good, he's become a different player. He's become a different player. He was defense first, offense first. And then I think after the Preds got rid of Subban, I think he transitioned into more of an offensive role. So I don't think that this defense has gone away. I think that he can do it again. It's just his role on the Predators has changed, and he can do both. He's very, very versatile. And if the Nashville Predators are looking for the Jake Muzzin package, so Sean Durzi, a former second-round pick, Carl Grundstrom, a former second-round pick, and a first-round pick, they're looking for a first and 2 seconds for this guy. Yeah, 100%. 100% I'm paying that price. 100%. If it is Amirov, it's really tough because it's like Liljegren, Sandin, it's like those guys are defensemen. The Maple Leafs need defensemen. That's why you're acquiring Ekholm. If you acquire Ekholm, it pushes those guys down on the depth chart. And especially because Ekholm's not even that old. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I'm pretty sure he's not that old. Let's find out. I think he's like the same age as Riley. Okay, he's 30 years old. I mean, that puts the Maple Leafs really into a win now sense. But if you're looking at this team, would you rather give up a forward or a defenseman? In terms of prospects? I don't know. Everyone's talking about Muzzin being older. Riley's contract is up. Ekholm would be a little bit older. TJ Brody's a little bit older. I don't think you can afford to go with a defenseman in that trade. So I don't know if it's Sandin or Liljegren. And if it's not one of those two guys, it's definitely not Nick Robertson, because I'm not doing that. It's gonna be Amirov. Is Amirov in a first enough for Ekholm? That'd be a lot. That's a lot. If it's gonna be that much, I want them to retain on Ekholm, even though his contract's awesome to begin with. Could you imagine if they can get him retained on there? I mean, to justify the assets that the Maple Leafs would need to give up, I want the most back in this trade. If you're giving up Amirov and a first, something like that, I want him at 50% retained, and I might even ask for something else. I mean, on this goalie chart that we have here, we got UC Saros up here on this goalie chart, and if we're looking at his numbers since the beginning of the 1920 season, .914 save percentage. Not bad. I'll take that. On the Leafs. It's a lot better than we've gotten over the last year or two. High danger shots against per 60. So the volume or the number of shots that he faces that are like 6 feet away from the net. There are a couple of goalies on here who have faced a little bit more, but he's faced more than Anderson. He's faced more than Allmark in Buffalo. His high danger save percentage better than Anderson's, better than Allmark's, just as good as Gibson. Medium danger shots against per 60. I'm not following the chat too much here. I'm doing a bad job of of keeping up here, but I'm getting into a groove. I'm getting excited about this because there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of things that they can do here. Medium danger save percentage. He stops the shots that Freddie doesn't. Like, look at Freddie's medium danger shots against. That's from like the top of the circle. 894. 43rd in the league out of 66 guys over the last year or so. This is the problem with Anderson. It's not those point blank opportunities. It's these. It's the medium ones. It's these ones that gets him. And UC Saros would be a decent goalie, I think, to platoon with Jack Campbell. I think he would be. He's younger too. Doesn't make a whole lot of money. I would be interested in that. Like, if you could pay a Mirov first, Maybe you'd have to add in like a second. What if you get Ekholm at 50% retained and UC Saros? I don't know. I don't know. I'd be really tempted. I'd be really, really tempted. Yeah, he's 5'10". Who cares? I'm 5'8". You know, that's not, what is it? Short kings. Short kings. We need to value short kings. Bernier's short too. He's under 6 feet tall. Maybe UC Saros knows who Nelson Mandela is. at the very least, maybe at least he knows who Nelson Mandela is. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Is a first Amirov and second for Ekholm at 50% retained and Saros? Is that unrealistic? Is that too much? Is that too much? I don't know. Gotta go for it. I mean, yeah, Nick Robertson, 5'9", another short king. Steven, if you were 5'2", you would still be my king. Awesome, man. Awesome to hear. No? That's worth it? Yes? I like Savard. I like Savard too. I mean, I said that signings Hall's death warrant to Seattle. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I thought about it. I thought about it a little bit. I know what I said in my video. I know what I said. I'm allowed to change my opinion now and again. I mean, I don't do it that often. But if you're the Maple Leafs for this upcoming expansion draft, I'm worried Amirov's going to be a star player one day. Well, I mean, if the Leafs win a cup with Ekholm, do you really care? Do you really care? But okay. So let's say that the Maple Leafs acquire Ekholm in this situation. You can either protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie, or you can protect 8 forwards, or a mix of both. Let's say you go 4 and 4. Because you got Jake Muzzin, Morgan Riley, TJ Brody. I said that not protecting Justin Holl would be bad. It's bad asset management. I mean, it is. It is bad asset management. He's a top 4 defenseman making $2 million. I mean, any trades have pros and cons. Everything that you do has pros and cons in them. So it's like, his plays trailed off a lot since like the first 10 or 15 games of the season, and everyone's been really quiet about that, including me. He hasn't played well the last month or two. Hasn't played well the last month or two. That's similar to last season where he started off really good and then just trailed off. So I don't think Hall is as concrete as a protection here, but then you have to look at who you're leaving exposed. Who are you leaving exposed? What are the options for Seattle when coming to your team? You're leaving Kerfoot exposed, and you'd be leaving Justin Holl exposed if you acquired Ekholm. Who are they going to take? Who are they going to take? Is it Kerfoot? Is it Kerfoot or is it Justin Holl? Is it Kerfoot or it's Justin Holl? Now, what's the difference between Kerfoot and Justin Holl? Remember, they can only take so many defensemen and so many forwards, right? So by the time if they get to Toronto, if they say we don't need another defenseman, they're going to go with Kerfoot. It's not as cut and dry. It's not what we think. There's a lot more that goes into it from their end. Yeah, some people don't realize you got to give to get. They are in win now mode right now. Like, if you're looking at the contracts and the way that things line up, like, Tavares is not getting any younger. He's not getting any younger. People are already complaining about his contract right now. And he's not getting any younger. So, you're in win now mode right now. Justin Holl. It's like, if you're looking at the difference between him and Kerfoot, it's not cut and dry. I mean, if the Maple Leafs had to give up a third for them to not take Holl and take Kerfoot instead, I mean, I don't think that that's unreasonable. I don't think that that's unreasonable. They could swing this. They could swing this. They could swing this. Tavares is overpaid. Okay, no, never mind. I shouldn't have mentioned Tavares. You mentioned his name once. It's like Beetlejuice. The contract stuff starts coming up. Contract starts. Yeah, it starts coming up. Never forget the Hyman handshake deal. No, that has happened. I put a mental $20 on that. I put it. Justin Howell? No, no way it's Justin Howell. It's Hole. Okay. The the JT people are coming out now. I got your $20. Richard, you do got my $20. I'm coming back for that though. You know, like a lot of people that, like, if you're in this stream right now, or if you're commenting on YouTube, I recognize you. Like, if you've commented on a video before, or if you're here right now, I read most of the comments. I read pretty much all of them. I don't respond to as many of them as I used to, but I do look at them. I do see them. So I do more than likely remember your name. I remember your name and your picture. Um, yep, you mentioned Tavares in contract in the same sentence, and people start to getting crazy ideas. But I said in my last video, I said, oh, the Maple Leafs don't have any cap space to make upgrades. And then I sarcastically went to the next screen and I was like, well, that's simple. People in the comment section would say, just trade Nylander. Just get rid of Tavares. There's your cap space. You know, it doesn't, yeah, okay, maybe I'm pronouncing Justin Hole's name wrong. maybe I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. I'm gonna have to listen to Joe Bowen or someone else say it for a little bit, and then maybe I'll get it afterwards. Do you really feel comfortable with Hutch in net, though, especially after his last start? I mean, it's not much better than Anderson. It's not much better than Anderson. Not much better than Anderson. I mean, I don't feel comfortable with either of them. I mean, Freddie, like, if you're looking at his numbers here, there are 31 starting goalies in the National Hockey League, and he is not top 31 in any of these stats. He is not threatening to be top 31 in any of these stats. He's not threatening to be top 31 in any of these stats. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong there. Get Ekholm and Savard? That is insane. Ekholm and Savard. I mean, I guess you'd be saying goodbye to Travis Dermott. Or I mean, hey, maybe Justin, whatever his last name is included in the deal for Mattias Ekholm. Maybe he is, and then we don't have to worry about it at all. Maybe he's included in that trade. Maybe it's Amirov a first and Justin Hull, or maybe it's Amirov second and Justin Hull. However you say it. The goal song sucks. It's on my playlist, to be honest. You know, sometimes bad is good. I don't know how that works, but it just does. How can we get the goal song changed? I don't know, man. It's really annoying when they're losing, but it's really obnoxious when they're winning. It is really obnoxious when they're winning. Think Jack Campbell will get hurt again? No, man. We got to think positively. Don't think that. Don't think that. Like I said in the playoffs last year, you have to speak things into existence. If you do that, you're going to set yourself up for success. The worst thing that you can do is think negatively going into something. You think negatively going into something, that's more than likely the way it's going to play out. We as fans have more of an impact that we think. It's not very much, but we have more of an impact than we think. How about Ekholm for Riley, 1-for-1, and then add Savard? I'm not a huge fan of adding by subtracting or making lateral moves like that. I'm not a huge fan of those moves. Goal song's so funny when they're winning. Yeah, exactly. It's very obnoxious. It is. It's very obnoxious. But when they're winning, I don't really care. Jumbo Joe's fine right now? Yeah, Jumbo Joe's fine. I mean, he's had 2 separate injuries this year. The guy's 41 years old, or 42, however old he is. I mean, he's a gem. He's a beauty. Do you see him singing in the car? Like, he's just awesome. Stahl from Buffalo? Apparently he doesn't want to do the quarantine. I think Eric Stahl really wants to go back to Carolina, and Carolina's like, no, ew, we don't want you back. That's what I think is going on right now with Eric Stahl. 267 people watching, 134 likes. Absolutely insane for a Sunday afternoon stream, especially after I had some technical difficulties to get the stream started. Spets has earned the right to be honest about what happened with Mike Babcock. I don't think Spezza really cares about Mike Babcock. I mean, I don't. I don't. You shouldn't either. You shouldn't either, especially after that media loser tour that he went on afterwards. Guy's a loser. Guy's a loser. Has a loser mentality and a loser attitude. I'll never understand why we wanted him so badly. I mean, I guess compared to the other guys that we had, I mean, really, how worse off would the team would have been if we just held on to Paul Maurice? Seems to be doing fine in Winnipeg. Seems to be doing fine in Winnipeg. Yeah, we had a really young Paul Maurice. It's like I don't understand why we couldn't have just let him learn from his mistakes. Paul Maurice never had goaltending. The Dangle and Berkshire did an article about that. They need to start playing the World Juniors penalty song when the opposition gets a penalty every single time. What is the World Junior penalty song? I'm not 100% caught up with that. Can you give us your signature welcome to Downtown Sports? Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about... It's a meme. It's a meme. I know it's a meme. I recognize that. I recognize that. Dubas will not fail. Has not failed. Trust in Dubas. I'm not just gonna blindly trust him, but I don't want to think that he's gonna fail. What about Kemper? He's injured right now. He's injured right now. Too fast? Too fast? Should I still... Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown. Would you guys watch that video afterwards? I don't know. You just want to come out to the... You know? You just want to come out quick. That's just me. That's just me. What about Blackwood? I don't think that that New Jersey would give him up. The World Junior penalty song is the most annoying song in the world. I mean, if it's as annoying as the Yankee Stadium whistle whenever they strike someone out, then I'm 100% on board. That whistle's really annoying. That whistle is very, very annoying. Next video, do it the fastest that you can. I have a video uploaded on my channel where I try to summarize Kyle Dubas' tenure as Toronto Maple Leafs GM as fast as I possibly can. The video is a minute, and I don't think I take a breath in it. It's an absolute for fun video. That if you guys wanna look for it afterwards, it's pretty funny. Since we have to expose a D-man that a certain amount of NHL experience, one of the top four have to be exposed. If Muzzin gets hurt again, like in the playoffs, would you expose him over Hull? No, because injuries are not, you can't control those. Am I a Jays fan? Yes, I am a Jays fan. Engvall for goaltending? I mean, he's tall enough, right? People like tall goalies. People like tall goalies. If you guys have a question, please do at me. This is the only time that I will tell you to at me. At Downtown Sports, and it'll highlight my name in orange. So then I'll be able to see it a little bit better. Crazy idea, Freddie for Vasi, Cooch and Hedman. Yeah, totally. I think Tampa will be all over that. Muzzin's a turnover machine? I don't believe that. I mean, if we're interested here, if we want to get a little bit chaotic, we can take... no, it's not going to look the greatest. I was going to suggest we can look over the Maple Leafs' defensive stats this season, but it's really hard to show this view. Things are going to look a little bit wacky for a second. Hold on, I got to resize things. There? Is that okay? I mean, you can see all the stats still. Yeah, let's just look at 5-on-5 teams. Because this is something that I wanted to point out, especially when talking about the goaltending. Per 60. And the only reason why we look at the per 60 stats is because the games played for all the teams this year is all over the place. So we need to look at the per 60 stats, otherwise it's going to be crazy. For those of you that are interested... Oh, wait. Wait a second. It's blocking the stat names. That's fine. That's fine if I leave it like that. Is it? Hold on. This maybe wasn't the greatest idea. Okay, it's fine. Should the Leafs give Jack Skinner a try? Oh, no. No. Painful for 5+ million? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. What do you give up for a Granlund? Second round pick? I don't know. Like, what have the Leafs given up for their past upgrades? They gave up a second round pick and Renat Valiev and what was the other guy? There was someone else in there. Kirby Reichel for Thomas Plekanec. They gave up a second round pick for Brian Boyle. Especially this year when the prices of things are going to be so low because no one has any money. There's going to be very few buyers at this year's trade deadline, and the players who and the teams who are buyers are going to be big buyers. Like they're probably going to scoop up more than half the 5 or 6 teams are probably going to scoop up the majority of the guys that are available on the trade market. Isn't downtown the nickname of every dude whose last name is Brown? I got it playing baseball when I was like 8 or 9 years old. It's just I made a throw from the outfield that got a guy out at home plate, and the coach just yelled, "Way to be downtown Stevie B," and then that was it. It just stuck. Well, let's look at these defensive numbers because I think it's important to put this into context to show the Maple Leafs have been better this year defensively. They have been. They are not good defensively this year, but they are much, much improved. So, expected goals against per 60. Let's just look at it. They are 17th in this stat. I mean, doesn't really say too much. Scoring chances against per 60. So the volume of scoring chances that they give up. They're 11th in the league right now. Oh, for the most. I got to sort that the other way. 21st in the league right now. 21st in the league right now. Is it cutting off the stat name? Nah, this is not a good idea. This is gonna kill the stream doing this. Anyway, my point that I wanted to show here is that the Leafs they're not in the bottom 10 of any of the defensive metrics that you would look at. They're not in the bottom 10 of any of them. There are about a dozen or so other teams that are worse defensively than the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, and that is not something that we have been able to say for a very, very long time. Not something that we've been able to say for a very long time. How old am I? I'm 23. We disagree? About what? But you hit 5K before the halfway point of April? No way. No way. If we can hit 4K subs by then, I'd be very, very happy about that. But it's it's something. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Serious question about a debate we were having on one of your videos. I know you think Dermott has been better than Bogosian. How do you measure that? To me, I mean, I know what I said in the one video, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and it's like they play different roles. I mean, they're about equal overall, I would say. I don't think that Dermott would be able to play Bogosian's role, and I don't think Bogosian would be able to play Dermott's role. I think that that's a better way to put it. Jeff Skinner's a brum? I think you meant bum. Fun trade Nylander for Line? No, we're not dealing Nylander. I like him too much. Are you doing a deadline day live stream? I got to see what day that falls on and what I'm doing. The next couple of weeks are going to be crazy with school on the channel and trades and stuff. I got to see. Ever thought of co-hosting a podcast? You, Andrew Pillock, and maybe another person. I don't have time right now for a podcast. I know a lot of people. There's a DM that I meant to respond to. If you're watching this stream, you know who you are. Who talked about a podcast. I would love to. I would love to do a podcast with either Andrew or my friend Anthony or someone else. I would love to. I just don't have a lot of time right now. I just don't have a lot of time right now. Would Domi be a smart pickup? I think he'd be very expensive. I think that I wouldn't mind that acquisition. I just think that we could do a little bit better than that. Will Dubas get us a goalie soon and relieve Fred? I mean, I hope so. But if they're going to roll with Campbell for the next little while and Jack's going to keep playing the way that Jack has since we've acquired him, don't have a problem with that. Don't have a problem with that. Almost 4K. Damn, I remember the stream with APH trying to get you 700. Yeah, I do too. It was been crazy. It's been crazy. It's been crazy the last little while ago. You strike me as a guy who goes to Ryerson for some reason. No, I wanted to go to Ryerson. I wanted to go to their journalism program. I didn't get in. I didn't try hard enough my grade 12 year. Didn't try hard enough. But I'm quite content with where I am right now. I'm quite happy with where I am right now. So that doesn't really matter to me. That was something else. I was talking with my girlfriend about one of her cousins. Like if you're younger and you're applying for university or you're going to apply for university, if you don't get into your top choice, it's okay. It's okay. It's what you make the, it's what you make of it. It's really that's what it is. It's what you make of it. Steve Dangle just posted his LFR. Oh no, that means everyone's gonna leave. That means everyone's gonna leave. I love Steve. I appreciate how much he puts into his videos. That guy's crazy. He puts in so much effort that I think is underappreciated by a lot of people because they're more comical. But I could not do what he does. I could not. I would agree with that. Haven't been big on Dermott this year, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been whatever. He's kind of been whatever. When are we going to see Robertson or Sandman? I would love to see Nick Robertson before they make a trade for a forward. I would love to. I would love that if the Leafs called him up and gave him an opportunity to show what he's got before making a trade for another forward. Because if he can step in and play on that, in the top six, wherever it is, or even on the third line, like, they said that they wanted a guy who was hard on the puck. Do we remember watching Nick Robertson in the bubble? That guy was a bee. That guy was a hummingbird. He was all over the ice. That guy was zipping and zagging and doing whatever that he could to be on top of the puck. And maybe he was trying a little bit too hard, and he's refined that. I think that they need to give Nick Robertson an opportunity before they make a trade for a forward. Who do you think will end up with the most points? Tavares, Marner, or Matthews? I think it's gonna be Marner. I think that McDavid overtook or tied Matthews for the goals lead in the league last night, but I think Matthews edges him out. His wrist has been bugging him the last while. I think the best way that I can describe Austin Matthews right now, because he hasn't scored a whole bunch in the last couple of games. There was a power play in the game that they lost to the Ottawa Senators, the game that Hutch gave up 2 really quick goals in, and then Freddie came in. There was a power play in that game, or there was a power play in the first Calgary. No, sorry. It was the Calgary game. In the third period, they got a power play, and they didn't pass to him at all. And he seemed really frustrated about that. And then they got another power play right afterwards, and then every single pass went to him. I think that he is trying really, really hard right now and dealing with something. So getting Austin Matthews healthy and having his wrist not be an issue anymore would be huge for this team. Would be huge for this team. If or when you play hockey, any type of hockey, what is your position? More than likely goalie. I'm not the best skater. I try, but I'm not the greatest skater. I mean, I played backcatcher when I played baseball, so I'd more than likely play goalie. I wouldn't. The puck hit me is not a foreign thing. The ball hit me all the time when I played backcatcher. Why do you think the Leafs are not calling up Liljegren? For the same reason why they're not calling up Sandin. I think they want them to develop together. Do you imagine just having a homegrown defensive pair that you can call up next season? I mean, if we're looking at next year, make sure that you guys can see what I need you to see here. But the Maple Leafs have 2 spots open up on defense, possibly. Could you imagine if they can just throw Liljegren there and throw Sandin there, and that'd be absolutely amazing. And then they can just graduate as they need them to together. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be nuts in my mind. Second, a third, and fourth plus ready for Allmark and Taylor Hall. Not a huge fan of acquiring Taylor Hall. Austin Matthews isn't out. He's playing through the injury right now. It's They described it on the radio last night or when I was watching the game on TV as something that gets better the more that he uses it. So it sounds like it starts off tight for him, and then as he's playing it loosens up and he's able to, get going with it. So it just sounds like it just sounds like he needs to just keep playing. It's something that will get better. Matthews and McDavid have tied for 21 goals, but in goals percentage, Matthews has the upper hand. Yeah, no, he does. He does. He does. Do you like the new power play setup? I mean, they got to do something different on the power play. I know Kristen Shelton mentioned it on the radio last night when I was driving home. They got to do something different, and I don't mind that setup. Nylander and Matthews on the wing. I think that Nylander's got an underrated shot. I think Tavares is an underrated shot. I mean, the guy can score goals, not just garbage goals. I think Marner's really improved his net this year, but behind the net, that probably you take advantage of his playmaking ability a little bit more. You take advantage of his playmaking a little bit more by doing that. Yeah, he's not winding up as much. It's his wrist. How do you feel about adding Ekholm and Palmieri as additions? Would love it. Would love it. Like I said earlier in the stream, Palmieri has very, very bad surface analytics, but if you dive into the context a little bit more, I wouldn't mind him. I would not mind him. That's not true. It's not true. If the Leafs didn't have JT, they would not be better off. They would not. They would not. Do you guys have any other questions and stuff like that? I know I've been here for for a while now. I am getting a little bit tired. It is hard to do this. It makes you appreciate daytime sports radio a lot more. After doing this for about an hour or so, just talking. I know, like, if there was someone else here to stream with me, like if Andrew wanted to jump on, I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to ask him, but if I had someone else to stream with me here, I could stream a lot longer. But after about an hour or so of talking straight, you really feel it. My words feel like alphabet soup right now. What about a trade for Connor Garland? Connor Garland's awesome. It's just going to be expensive. It's going to be very, very expensive. And then it's going to be another RFA to sign. And I just don't. What's on the screen right now, by the way, is for next season. It's for next season. It's for next season. I can flip back to this year. Show how much cap space that the Leafs would have if they placed Frederik Andersen on LTIR, which was basically the point of my last video that I did here. How do you think Tavares will contribute greatly to this offense? John Tavares, looking at the numbers, you get a greater appreciation for him as a player. Just watching the game, I don't think it comes up as much because he's not the greatest skater. I mean, he's okay. He's not slow. He's not fast either. He's always in position. He goes where the puck is going. And I think that is a very, very underrated skill to have. John Tavares is a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. Any chance you can do these more often? Yeah, I would love to. It's just going to be insanely busy over the next couple of weeks as my school semester comes to a close. I got about like 8 or 9 major assignments that I need to do that I should probably be working on right now. But, got to talk to you guys. Because I love doing it. Do you trade for Seabrook, seeing as the cap's going to be flat for a while? No, I don't want to take on any more LTIR contracts. Taking on LTIR contracts or players like that, so taking on another Nathan Horton, David Clarkson, or Brent Seabrook is not good. It's not good. Because it makes it very... So for the last little while, the problem with the Maple Leafs has been that they have players on LTIR. And when you have players on LTIR, it makes it very difficult to make trades in season. And if you don't believe me, the 16-17 season, they only acquired Brian Boyle at the trade deadline because they were using LTIR. In the 16-17 season, they only acquired Thomas Plekanec because they were using LTIR. In the 18-19 season, they did not use LTIR because that was a huge year for rookie bonuses, and they didn't want to have overages. In the 19-20 season, because they needed to re-sign basically everyone, so they didn't use LTIR at all, so they had more cap space to work with, and they went out and acquired Jake Muzzin. This year, they've used LTIR a lot, and it's going to be really hard to make deadline moves unless they can place Anderson on LTIR and get that kind of relief. Because Sheldon Keefe said that Anderson wasn't available to them yesterday to be the backup for that game because of injury. So it begins. How long is he going to be unavailable for injury? Obviously, I hope he makes a full recovery. I hope he signs the largest contract in the world this offseason. Just preferably not with the Toronto Maple Leafs. It really does depend on, do the Maple Leafs do like the Tampa Bay Lightning are doing with Nikita Kucherov with Frederik Andersen right now? Can they do it? Because if they can make massive upgrades here. We'd shoot up in the top of the table in defensive ratings, and then I think I missed something. What do you think of other teams targeting Matthews? Seems like they are trying to hurt him. I know Matthews hasn't really appreciated the refereeing this year. I think I missed your first comment here in the series of questions. If we traded Riley, trading Riley is a sticky situation. I really don't think that that would benefit the Maple Leafs much. I don't think it would. What do you think the chances are of Spezza, Thornton, Bogosian, Simmons, and Galchenyuk returning for similar deals? Galchenyuk would probably stick around for something similar. I mean, Tyler Ennis greatly benefited from being a Maple Leaf for a year or so and then went on to the Oilers. But I don't know. It depends. I mean, I would welcome all of them back, even though the first two guys are getting kind of old. Especially Zach Bogosian. If he wants to come back for $1 million, I will 100% take him. 100% take him. If Wayne Simmons wants to come back for maybe slightly cheaper, I doubt it though, 100% would welcome him back. He's been a hell of a lot of fun to watch. What's the difference between IR and LTIR? Most people think I'm kidding when I ask, but I don't know what the difference is. When you're on IR, you're just freeing up a roster spot. You're not freeing up any salary cap relief. When you're on LTIR, you're freeing up a roster spot and you're getting salary cap relief while that player is injured. But when they come back from injury, you need to have that cap space. But if they come back in the playoffs, there is no salary cap in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. Ooh, chat scrolled way down. Dude, love your channel. Keep up the hard work. Love your hockey analysis. I love all of you guys, honestly. The more support and the more people that watch this channel, the more time that I can dedicate towards it, doing research, buying different subscriptions to look at different stats and context. And it's just like I'm looking into possibly covering a Marlies game in about before the end of my school semester for a major assignment. So I think that would be really fun if I can get that done. If the Leafs get Ekholm, do you not look to move Riley in the summer? Not necessarily. I wouldn't give him away for free. Definitely not. You would want a lot back for him. Got a peace out, dude. Appreciate the videos and live streams. Appreciate you coming here, Miguel. I know that I believe you were here when I was having some technical difficulties and you stuck around. So thank you very much for coming out. Thank you very much for everyone coming out and watching. I mean, we got 190 people down. Watching the stream right now. I know it's ramped down a little bit. I'm more than likely going to end the stream in about 5 minutes or so, just because I am exhausted and I should be doing schoolwork. But thank you guys for coming out. I think that it was fun answering questions and stuff like that. Even if we didn't talk about any sort of specific things. Journalism, taking journalism in school. So this is what I am in school for. This is what I am in school for. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. I know, like I was saying, we didn't talk about anything specifically or specifics. We didn't make any groundbreaking discoveries in this stream, or revelations. But if I answered your questions That's mainly what I wanted to do today. I wanted to dedicate some time to answer a bunch of questions. I think it's easier to do this than it is to responding people in the comment than responding to people in the comment section. We need Kadri back right now. That would be nice. It would be nice. Okay, Steven, I gotta go work on some assignments. Thanks for the streams. They're awesome. Good luck on the school assignments. Good luck. Does anyone have any some final questions here? We can do like a lightning round in like the last 2 or 3 minutes or so. Like any like in-depth questions? You guys want me to pull up any stats or anything like that? Some context? Anything? I think that they're gonna come flying in if anyone has more questions. If not, I'm probably gonna peace out here. What's your dream trade with Nashville? Like I said, if we can get Ekholm and Saros from them, Ekholm at 50% retained, I would be willing to give up quite a bit. I'd be willing to give up quite a bit. You gonna post this stream? Yeah, I will leave this stream up on the channel afterwards. Would Colton Parayko fit? I don't think the Blues would give him up. Leaf prospect spark notes? Oh god, I am very, very unprepared for that. One thing I will say about prospects is that the prospects that we value from watching them and looking at their stats and their highlights are not necessarily the prospects that other GMs covet. So when Kyle Dubas was asked would he give up a top prospect and very, very quickly just answered one word, yes. The prospects that we consider to be top prospects are not the same prospects that the organization considers to be top. Like, I think everyone can agree Robertson, Sandin, Amirov, Liljegren, like that top four. But after that, you get into Topi Naimela, Roni Irvinen, who were both second-round picks from this past year's draft. A lot of people sleeping on Vietny Miettinen. If you're ever wondering what Kyle Dubas is up to, just go to his Twitter account and look through his likes. Look through his likes. If you say something positive about Vietny Miettinen, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, he will more than likely like your tweet. That is Kyle Dubas's guy. That was his draft pick. Just by judging his likes on Twitter, he keeps a close eye and tabs on him. And he is super, super pumped about that player. I think that we should be too. He's got a hell of a shot. Hell of a shot. How much better does our D have to be? Excuse me, sorry. How much better does our D have to be for us to be able to win? Right now, it's about middle of the pack. It's kind of mediocre. If it was in the top half of the league and we had a decent goalie to go with that, I think that would be better enough. Or good enough, sorry. D in terms of shots against such dangerous shots against. Yeah, for sure. Would you agree that it's not a coincidence Hall's drop-off has come with Muzzin's injury? Hey, I mean, if Muzzin is propping up Justin Hall to the level that we saw at the beginning of this season, that's not necessarily a bad thing because Justin Hall's not making a ton of money. If you're paying $2 million for a guy who works well with Jake Muzzin, that's not a bad thing. Chemistry is good, and you do value it. You have to. If he works well with Jake Muzzin when Jake Muzzin is healthy, I don't have a problem with that. Jake Muzzin's good enough to carry things on his own. What if the goalies remain the same? We're probably screwed. Probably screwed. We might get past the first and the second round, seeing as they are against other Canadian teams. But once we get to that third round and in the fourth round, that goaltending will be exposed. That'll be exposed. Big time. All right, guys. So I think I am going to be wrapping up the stream now. I'm going to go grab some lunch because I didn't get to eat anything. Because when I got up, I was setting up the stream and I had some trouble doing that. So I'm going to go have some lunch, work on some school assignments. Thank you very much for coming out to the stream. It has been awesome. So make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more because more is always on the way. And guys, remember, I think the main thing that we can take away from this stream here is we got to think positively. We got to look at the pros over the cons. Obviously, look at both of them. but I don't think that you should let the cons bog you down on things right now. Thinking about what happens if we don't get another goalie, I don't think that that's productive. Thinking about what happens if they don't make any upgrades at the deadline, I don't think that that's productive either. You just got to hope for, and you got to say it with me here, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to make upgrades to this team. They are going to do it. And if they don't, they don't. I guess we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it if or and when that happens. But got to think positively. All right. So I appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you so much. Too fast? That's like the trademark here on this channel. You got to start quick and you got to end quick. No, but seriously, guys, thank you so much for coming out, for liking the stream and stuff like that. Right before we close out here, if you're still watching, drop me a like on the stream if you did enjoy it. It was a hell of a lot of fun. It is tiring to talk for this long, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. So thank you guys again for coming out. Love all of you, and I will talk to you again in the next video.